A family SUV that rockets from 0 to 60 faster than most supercars. Sounds impossible, right? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to show you is going to flip everything you thought you knew about electric vehicles completely upside down. What's happening right now in the automotive world is absolutely mind-blowing. And honestly, most people have no idea how fast things are moving. We're not talking about small improvements anymore. We're talking about revolutionary leaps that happen every single year. And today, I'm diving deep into one of the most exciting vehicles I've ever had the chance to experience. So here's the deal. I recently placed an order for an electric SUV that's been making serious waves in the market. Actually, let me rephrase that. I placed an order, then I changed my order, and I'm going to explain exactly why in just a moment. But first, let me paint you a picture of what we're dealing with here. This vehicle just got a massive upgrade. And when I say massive, I mean the kind of upgrade that makes you question reality. The performance variant now launches from standstill to highway speed in under 3 seconds. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Under 3 seconds. That's sports car territory. That's hypercar acceleration. Except this is a full-sized family SUV with room for your kids, your groceries, and everything in between. Now I know what you're thinking. More power, bigger battery, better range. Sure, that's all there. But here's where things get really interesting. They've also upgraded the entire electrical architecture to a 900-volt platform. Most electric vehicles today run on 400 volts. Some premium ones use 800, but 900? That's next-level engineering right there. Let me tell you why I got so excited about this particular vehicle. Nearly 3,000 people in my country have already pre-ordered this thing within just a few weeks of it becoming available. And keep in mind, we're not exactly a massive market. We already have way more electric vehicle options than many other countries, yet this one is still flying off the virtual shelves. There's clearly something special happening here. Here's where my story gets interesting. Initially, I ordered the long-range rear-wheel drive version. Seemed like a solid choice, right? Good range, plenty of power, reasonable price. But then I got the chance to actually test drive both versions back to back. And let me tell you, after experiencing that all-wheel drive performance model, there was absolutely no going back. I immediately contacted them and switched my order. Now, there's something I need to address because I see this all the time in the comments. People keep saying they're waiting for the next version. They want the updated model. They're holding off until the newest one arrives. And I get it, I really do. But here's the harsh truth that nobody wants to hear. If you wait for the next model, you'll be waiting forever. Literally forever. The automotive industry has fundamentally changed. It's not like the old days anymore when manufacturers would release a new model every 5 years. Back then, sure, if you were 4 years into a model cycle, waiting 1 more year made perfect sense. But that playbook is completely outdated now. These companies are updating their vehicles every single year. Sometimes even more frequently than that. So the new model that launches in 12 months will be replaced by an even newer model 12 months after that. And then another one after that. It's a never-ending cycle of improvements. If you keep waiting, you'll never actually buy anything. You'll just keep perpetually waiting while everyone else is out there enjoying their vehicles. Let me share something personal. I charge my electric vehicle for absolutely free during specific hours of the day using smart electricity plans. Between noon and 2 in the afternoon, my charging costs nothing, $0. Combined with my solar panel setup and home battery system, I'm basically running my entire household and my car on pure sunshine. No monthly fuel costs, no electricity bills. It's genuinely incredible when you think about it. All right, let's break down what's actually new with this updated version. There are 3 different configurations available, and each one brings something unique to the table. The base model uses a 75 kilowatt-hour battery pack. It's lithium iron phosphate chemistry, which is super stable and long-lasting. But here's the cool part. Despite being the budget option, the energy density is absolutely phenomenal. We're talking about seriously advanced battery technology here that outperforms what many premium manufacturers are using. The acceleration has improved too. It now hits highway speeds a full 10% faster than before. That might not sound like much, but trust me, you feel it. The mid-range option is where things start getting really spicy. This version packs a slightly larger battery. They've bumped it from 100 kilowatt-hours up to 103. Not a huge jump, but every bit helps. This variant puts out nearly 500 horsepower from a single motor. Just one motor. That's absolutely bonkers. It'll sprint to highway speeds in just over 5 seconds, and the range is genuinely impressive. You're looking at somewhere around 400 miles in real-world conditions, depending on how you drive and what wheels you choose. But then we have the absolute monster, the all-wheel drive performance variant. Same battery size as the mid-range, but they've cranked the power output way up. We're talking about over 780 horsepower combined from 2 electric motors. That's supercar power in a family vehicle. It rockets to 60 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds. 2.98 seconds to be exact. Think about that for a moment. That's faster than most Ferraris. Faster than most Lamborghinis? This is a vehicle you can take to the grocery store, pick up your kids from school, and then absolutely demolish almost anything at a stoplight if you're feeling frisky. The range takes a small hit compared to the long-range version, but you're still looking at over 350 miles in real-world driving. Both of the larger battery models use a different chemistry. They're nickel-manganese-cobalt batteries, which offer higher energy density and better performance characteristics. The trade-off is slightly less range on the all-wheel drive model because you're pushing all that extra power through 2 motors. But honestly, the difference is minimal. Maybe 10 to 15 miles less in realistic conditions. Now here's where the technology gets really impressive. This updated version comes standard with an advanced driver assistance system that uses 31 sensors scattered throughout the vehicle. It's powered by some seriously heavy-duty computing hardware. The processing capability is miles ahead of what you'll find in most Japanese, American, or European vehicles. Though I should mention, some other manufacturers are pushing even further with multiple chips delivering even more computing power. The future is wild. The driver assistance system has different tiers available depending on your market. The second-from-the-top version can handle highway driving, navigate city streets, and even do door-to-door navigation without needing pre-mapped roads. They're marketing it as nearly autonomous, though let's be realistic here. It's incredibly advanced driver assistance, but we're not quite at full self-driving yet. Still, it's seriously impressive technology. Here's the game changer, though. That 900-volt architecture I mentioned earlier, this changes everything about charging. The previous 800-volt system was already the fastest charging option available in many markets. But this new setup? It can charge from 10% to 80% in just 10 minutes. 10 minutes! That's faster than most people spend in a convenience store during a road trip. To put that in perspective, the previous version took around 13 to 15 minutes for the same charge. So we're talking about a roughly 20% improvement in charging speed. That's the difference between grabbing a coffee and actually sitting down for a meal. In practical terms, it means road trips become virtually indistinguishable from driving a gasoline vehicle, except you're stopping at chargers instead of gas. Let me give you some context on how much these specifications have improved. The previous rear-wheel drive model put out about 416 horsepower. The new version bumps that up significantly, adding around 80 extra horses. Not bad at all. But the all-wheel drive version? That got an absolutely massive boost. It went from around 637 horsepower to over 780. That's an increase of nearly 150 horsepower. That's not a refresh, that's a transformation. The range improvements are more modest. We're looking at maybe 10 to 15 extra miles in realistic conditions. It's a nice to have, but not something you'd really notice in day-to-day driving. The real stars of this update are the power increases and that insanely fast charging capability. For those wondering about dimensions, this vehicle is extremely similar in size to some of the most popular compact SUVs on the market. It measures just under 16 feet in length, very comparable to the mainstream options everyone's familiar with. The weight is a bit higher, though, which makes sense given the massive battery pack and all the additional features. The base model with the smaller battery weighs in around 5,000 pounds. The long-range rear-wheel drive is slightly heavier, and the all-wheel drive performance model tips the scales at just over 5,400 pounds. Now, before anyone freaks out about that weight, remember what you're getting. Premium leather throughout the interior, adaptive air suspension that adjusts to road conditions, a heads-up display projecting information onto the windshield, additional screens and displays. This isn't a bare-bones electric appliance. This is a genuinely luxurious vehicle that happens to be incredibly fast. Speaking of the interior, there's been some confusion online. I've seen people sharing videos claiming the version sold in certain markets has this dramatically upgraded interior. That's not quite accurate. The core interior is essentially identical. What people are seeing are optional extras that you can pay for if you want them. Things like a refrigerated compartment in the center console, rear entertainment screens for passengers. These aren't standard and they're not cheap. You're looking at spending an extra $1,000 or $2,000 if you want those features. But here's the thing. Most people don't actually want those extras. And if you really do want them, you can often get them installed aftermarket for less money. The standard interior is already fantastic. Beautiful materials, excellent build quality, intuitive controls. The main display screen is gorgeous. The driver's display is crisp and clear. The steering wheel feels perfect in your hands. I honestly can't spot any meaningful differences between the old and new versions in terms of interior design. The performance all-wheel drive model does come with some nice standard features, though. Frameless automatic doors that open with sensors. Privacy glass for the rear windows. These are the little touches that make a vehicle feel special. Let me be completely transparent about why I ordered this vehicle. The all-wheel drive performance version costs roughly $73,000 in my local currency. For that money, you're getting genuine premium leather, adaptive air suspension, over 600 horsepower in the current model, and a genuinely luxurious experience. Compare that to some mainstream alternatives that cost around $90,000 for significantly less performance and fewer features. That's a $17,000 difference. I just couldn't justify spending that extra money for less capability. This is why most buyers are choosing either the long-range rear-wheel drive or the all-wheel drive performance models. The base model is fine, but the mid and top-tier options offer significantly better value. And from what I'm hearing, the overwhelming majority of orders are for that top-spec performance model. People want that crazy acceleration. There's been some confusion about cargo space, too. Official figures claim nearly 3.4 cubic feet of boot space, but that's measured all the way to the roof, which isn't how we typically measure cargo capacity. The realistic usable cargo space is closer to 19 cubic feet. That's very comparable to other vehicles in this class. Plenty of room for luggage, sports equipment, or whatever you need to haul around. Now, I want to address something serious. Is this much power actually necessary in a family vehicle? Can a regular SUV really handle this level of performance safely? These are legitimate questions. I've driven this vehicle on racetracks, on regular streets, on gravel roads, and I've really pushed it hard. My honest assessment is that it's remarkably well balanced. The suspension, chassis, and overall engineering can handle the power output without any issues. However, I have driven some electric vehicles where the chassis simply wasn't designed to cope with the massive power output. The engineering wasn't there, and that's genuinely dangerous. We're seeing this become a real problem in some markets. People are buying incredibly powerful electric vehicles and overestimating their own driving abilities. The results can be catastrophic. I've seen reports of drivers losing control and causing serious accidents because they simply weren't prepared for that level of instant acceleration. This isn't funny. It's a genuine safety concern that the industry needs to address. Raw power means nothing if the rest of the vehicle can't handle it safely. Thankfully, the vehicle I'm discussing today seems to have gotten that balance right. But not every manufacturer is being as thoughtful about it. Electric vehicles are only going to get more powerful from here. That's the trajectory we're on. More power, more performance, more capability. It's exciting, but it also demands more responsibility from drivers and more thoughtful engineering from manufacturers. So here's my final take. This updated version represents a genuine leap forward. Faster charging, more power, better technology, and a fantastic overall package. Yes, there will be another updated version next year, and another one after that. But if you keep waiting, you'll never actually experience the incredible technology that's available right now. For me, the choice was clear. That all-wheel drive performance model offers unbeatable value, genuine luxury, and performance that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. I can't wait to take delivery and start putting serious miles on it. What do you think? Is this much power practical, or is it complete overkill for a family vehicle? Would you choose the efficiency of the long-range model, or would you go for that insane performance version? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely want to hear your perspective on this. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button. It really helps push this content to more people who might be interested. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got so much more electric vehicle content coming your way, including my full review once I actually take delivery of this beast. Until next time, stay charged up, and I'll see you in the next one.